12-Sided Stories is for mature audiences and often deals with topics that may be difficult for some listeners. Discretion is advised. In the city of dreams, everyone wants to be a star, but at what cost? 12-Sided Stories presents Otherworld Hollywood.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Otherworld Hollywood, episode number 2, our Call of Cthulhu actual play. Thank you for joining us. I have some wonderful players here. Let us start with Lev.
Hello, I'm Lev Rodriguez-Shivers, and today I'll be playing Robbie Sidious.
Hello, I'm Candace. My pronouns are they, she, and today I'll be playing Ebony Belafonte, she, her.
Hey y'all, I'm Mac Beauvais, and today I am playing Cass Richardson, aka Lenore Von Mori, aka The Vamp.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Starr. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns. And today I will be playing Imani DeVoe, she, her.
Hey, I'm Michelle, and I am playing Belle Bellington, your local gossip columnist. Anything good to tell me? Before we start, please consider supporting the show through Patreon or on Ko-fi, spelled Ko-fi. Now, on with the show.
All right, I have a recap to tell you. Last episode, we met all our new characters for our 1950s Hollywood noir adventure. First, we met Robbie and learned about their huge script of 200 and some odd pages about forced medical experiments that they want to turn into a sequel or maybe a trilogy.
A saga.
It did not go over well with Danny Trent, the owner of the studio of Cthulhu Films, but he's willing to work with Robbie as long as rewrites are in the works, basically. Cass, aka Lenore, aka The Vamp, is our horror show host at Cthulhu Films, and they're going to be the evil doctor in this upcoming film that Robbie has written. They are dating famous movie star and hunk Henri Blanc. Henri and Cass are actually best friends who are hiding each other's secrets of not being straight in the 1950s. Unfortunately for them both, Henri was photographed kissing his boyfriend at a club by a photographer named Johnny who works with Belle Bellington, who happens to be Michelle's character. Belle is looking for a big scoop and has literally just had one land in her lap. Then we have Evie, the still beautiful, still wonderful, but definitely not as young as they used to be, star of stage and screen. And I don't know, she's reluctant about how well this whole Cthulhu thing is going to go, but she's got to take a job somewhere because she needs to continue to pay her bills and all of that. Danny Trent decided to announce that she was going to play the mother character of Imani, the new up-and-coming ingenue, starlet, young, bright-eyed, all the life in the world, gonna get all the breaks. How dare she come into my city and take away my world? I've been here longer, I deserve better. So, that was the vibe. At least I'm reading between the lines. And we're picking it up with Belle outside of Cthulhu Films. They're about to be introduced by Danny to the rest of the cast. Danny is looking for Belle to write some nice things about the studio and try to get a little drum up for this movie or saga that is being created. Johnny showed you the picture, and we're going to pick up right there. Right as you're looking at the picture, Danny comes out of the studio and says, "Hey, glad you're able to make it. We have everybody here. What you got there?"
And I reach into my purse, I grab a couple bucks, and I go, "Johnny, can you go get me a pack of cigarettes?" Which he can plainly see I have a pack in my purse.
He rolls his eyes professionally and walks away.
"Danny, we need to talk."
Okay, talk. Why all of a sudden serious? You haven't even been inside yet.
Well, let's get in your office and get serious. I had a bombshell land in my hands right now.
He looks confused for a second. All right. Come on through. So you walk through and you see all these people standing around. You recognize some of them. You recognize Evie, Cass, Lenora, and you don't recognize Robbie. You don't recognize Amani. She looks like she's pretty fresh off the bus, but the other two you recognize. And you walk into his office and you take a seat. It's got scripts and papers everywhere. It is a mess. And as you sit down, you hear the door open up behind you again and close, but no footsteps.
I look over my shoulder.
There's a man in a burgundy suit just standing against the wall.
Okay, I know who he is. I'm probably pretty used to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's this bombshell, sweetie?
I toss the envelope on his desk.
He opens it up, looks at the picture for a second. Well, what are you going to do with this?
Well, we both know that this is no big secret within the people in the know, but if this got out to the public, that would be the end of your biggest star right now.
They're just dating right now. I could spin it. Crushed woman finds out dark secret of boyfriend. It's happened before.
Unless he got something better.
What are you thinking?
Some sort of scandal, something to cover. None of that commie crap. Hedda's gone full hog on the commie stuff, and I'm done with it. I want some real juicy gossip. Besides, if I expose any of the commie crap, half your writers are going to have to go underground again.
I'll be honest with you. I have no idea where Robbie lands on anything, honest.
I'm not talking about Robbie. You know who I'm talking about.
Okay, look. I don't know what gossip to give you. We both know the same people in the same circles. You know I don't own this place. I'm just the face of it.
Right.
Why don't you stick around, talk with the others, get a feel for the room. Maybe something more juicy will pop up. But right now, I don't have anything for you. I mean, I don't want to have to deal with this. And destroying this kid's career doesn't seem like the juice you're looking for. It's not a long-term thing.
It's not. It's a one-time deal. So what? I ruin his career. I get a bump for a couple of minutes, and then what? Nothing.
Then you got to ruin someone else's career. That's what you people do, right?
Or we make them.
Well, why don't you go make some careers and talk to the people out there?
All right.
I don't got anything for you. If something comes up, trust me, I have people that I'd love to sink. And if I can figure something out, I'll give you the torpedo.
All right. And I look at the man in the burgundy suit and I go, and if you hear anything, you tell me too. And I wink at him and walk out the door.
When you pass by him, you get like this feeling of goosebumps on the back of your neck. And it's not a feeling of fear. It's a feeling of anger, of conflict in your bones all of a sudden. Like you just get a flash of anger. And then you're through the door. And the second you're through the door, you kind of go back to normal. And you're standing there suddenly in the main warehouse of the studio.
I walk up to Ebony. I'm like, Evie, darling. Do the two cheek kiss type of thing.
Evie's shoulders kind of stiffen a little bit. And I think the first thing you see is a very blank face looking at you, eyebrows slightly raised, but she matches your level of exuberance as you kind of come into her space and gives you the two kisses. Oh, Belle, it's so nice to see you. Wow. Good to have someone of the old guard back, am I right?
Old guard it is. How are you, dear?
Thriving. I found a new home temporarily to stretch my legs a little bit. I've been promised an interesting and juicy part to sink my teeth into, really get the fans going again.
Well, you are definitely going to be a shining jewel in the crown of this studio.
Oh, thank you, Belle. Please let me introduce you to our young ingenue.
Oh, of course.
Imani, darling, please come here, please.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Imani Devereaux, fresh off the bus. Look at her. Can't you see that innocence in her eyes? It's breathtaking.
Hello, Imani. Well, aren't you precious?
Thank you, ma'am.
Miss Devereaux. Belle, you don't have to call me ma'am.
Yes, Belle. I'm sorry. Force of habit.
I understand. Gosh, you're just so darling.
How may I help you?
How do you like it here in Hollywood?
Oh, it's just... everything's just so big and busy, and there's always somebody that's just like around. And, some people are not necessarily nice, but the people I've met here have been lovely so far.
Oh, well, that is so good to hear. And I just kind of shoot Evie this look like, are you fucking kidding me?
Evie, kind of turns Imani and coaxes her back toward the rest of the group and looks over her shoulder at you, Belle. I have a lot of work to do, but I'm more than willing to do it. Lucky me, I'm not the star of this picture, so I have a little extra time on my hands.
Well, you let me know if anything comes up.
What are you doing here anyway?
Oh, always looking for a new story, a new angle.
You don't usually show up until after you find one.
So I just smile, this big Cheshire cat / tiger about to pounce smile. Well, you've known me for a while, haven't you?
Indeed I have. And I think Evany, tips her head towards you and gives you, a little bit of a shoulder, nod, a shoulder shrug as she walks away to join the rest of the crew.
And I walk over to Lenore, Lenore, darling, how are you?
Belle.
And how are things going, my dear?
As they always are, I'm working and I can't complain. And especially not to you after that story that you wrote.
Darling, I'm just doing my job.
Yes, we all are.
Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. And I say, hello. I look at Robbie. I don't know Robbie.
Robbie looks up from what they've been doing. There's ink smeared across their face. Their eyes are kind of wide. Are you also in this? Do I need to add another part?
Oh, no, dear. I'm Belle. I'm a gossip columnist. You look like a writer?
Yes, I am. Robbie. Roberta. Robbie. Robbie's better.
Nice to meet you, Robbie.
Nice to meet you.
Carry on.
Miss.
Carry on.
Yeah, are you going to be around more?
Yes, I am.
Interesting. And I think Robbie looks at you a little too long and just kind of is not even sizing you up in an aggressive way, just is trying to kind of understand why you're here and can kind of see that you're scoping things out and doesn't really understand that entirely.
So as all of this is going on, you see Danny open the door of his office. He goes over to the big doors of the studio, passes by them, the little side door opens it up, and you hear him just in the distance arguing with someone. And they say, look, I don't care. You're not using my real name on this. This is a temporary thing for me. I said I would do it because I got bills to pay, and I haven't even read the script yet. But what you told me I'm a little nervous about this. And Danny goes, I have to use your name. That's the whole point of hiring you, is you have a name. And he goes, I don't care. Look, I don't care. You can't use my real name on this. And he goes, well, what do you want to call me? And he goes, I don't give a shit. You can call me fucking Jacques Couture if you want. I don't want to be a part of this beyond that. Jacques Couture, are you sure? Yes, it doesn't matter. No one's going to see this thing. Fine. Let me introduce you to everyone. Introduce me. They could hear our whole conversation, you idiot. Now, just come on. And these two men walk up, and Danny says, hello, everyone. This is your director, Jacques Couture. And you see him, and you recognize him pretty quickly as a famous director, Stan Williams, who has done a lot of different films, but whose last film, Gone with the Wind 2, The Tsunami, did not do well. And he crashed and burned, and he is now at Cthulhu Films. He says, everyone, I'm so glad to meet you all. I'm very sorry for being introduced this way. I cannot wait to make this film with you all. Do I have a script I can look at?
Robbie comes over with, as I said, several, all the scripts they could grab are in their arms. So they're kind of jumbled up now. And then they're scribbled on, first pages or on top. Ink's still wet. I'm in the process of rewrites because I was told 247 pages was too long. So we're making some edits. I also would love to talk to you about my vision about composition and what we're looking at. I don't think I want us to see everything. And it's just trying to, fully go deep dive into it before the man has even read a word. And I really don't think I think Miss DeVoe and Miss Evie are fantastic actors, but I don't think they look similar enough to portray mother and daughter. So I'm wondering if we can go a more mentor-mentee kind of a route, or a family friend
Robbie,
been there for...
Robbie says,
yes.
Okay, you're going way too fast. This is way more information. I'm still processing the 240 pages.
247.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I'm cutting it down. I'm cutting it down. They told me I had to cut it down, so I'm cutting it down.
I appreciate that. I will say that when I was working on 3 Guns, 1 Coffin, I found that the writer really wanted to do a whole epic saga, and
Yes.
being open to edits really helped us get that 4 hours down to 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I hope that you'll work with me as well as we figure out the best way. Miss DeVoe, was it you said? Who's Miss DeVoe?
Yes, Imani DuVoe. She's our
Imani
leading
DuVoe,
lady.
oh.
She's going to be fantastic. I can just tell.
Amani, come over here for a second. Take a look at you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you're from the South.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you not be from the South? Can you speak without the accent is what I'm asking.
I mean, I've only practiced, but I can sure try.
Can you practice right now and talk to me in a non-Southern accent?
Hello, my name is Imani DeVoe. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
You sound like one of those robots. It's gotta be more natural.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Just, it's okay. We're working together.
Let's see. Okay.
Practice it. You'll be fine. Evie, how are you? Oh, I haven't seen you in so long.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. You could be a little nicer to the new blood, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm frazzled. She's gonna do great. She just needs to do some practicing. You know, that's the way it is. You gotta be a little tough, right? A little bit thick-skinned.
I suppose so, yes. And I look over at you, Imani. We'll talk a little bit. Just let me know. I once was like you. I had a ridiculous New Jersey accent. Please let me know anything I can do for you, honey. Anything.
I appreciate it, Miss Belafonte. Thank you.
So, let's see. Oh, hey, Cass, how's it going? I'd forgotten that you were over here.
Every night, doing the show.
That's great. You're going to be in this movie?
At least that's what I've been told, unless you've got other plans.
No, not at all. I'd love to be great. It's good to see you. All right, everybody. We have how many days to film this? Like, what, 6?
6, I think, was what was told. 6.
Well, no, 6 is just when I have to have the script completely done by.
Oh, okay. So rehearsals will start in, let's say, 2 days. Get the first part done so we can start rehearsing that while you work on the rest of it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm done. Talk to you all tomorrow. And then he leaves. He doesn't acknowledge you at all, Belle, just so you know.
I know.
Doesn't do anything towards you.
I just smile and I write in my little notebook. Because I know who he is.
Stan Williams was a massive director who did a really bad flop that you heard of. He's been married several times. It's so funny with old movie actors. You look on their Wikipedia and their spouses, there's like 8 of them. Yeah. It's just a long list.
Yeah.
And they're all broken up as like
They're all
3-year increments, like 76 to 78. You're like, what?
And then they marry the next one in 78.
In 78 or maybe 79, like within the next year.
All the fucking overlapping. It's like, I see. Okay. All right. So unless there's anything you all want to do in this very moment, Lev, do you have something you'd like to do?
I do think that Robbie is not necessarily talking to Imani, but just kind of like wandering around behind her and kind of watching her. And then at some point will eventually kind of come up and say, I personally like your accent very much. It reminds me of home a little bit. I understand why he wanted you to do it the other way, but I think it was very rude.
Well, I do appreciate your sentiments. That was very kind, but I do think that maybe he had a point. If I'm supposed to portray this role the best I can, my accent does make it a little more difficult. So that probably should be something I work on. I mean, Miss Evie seemed more than willing and capable of helping.
She seems very kind for all of the reputation that I've heard about her.
I'm sorry? Did you hear something untoward?
She's just scary.
She's supposed to be scary.
Yes.
Oh, well, she's not doing a good job of that at all for somebody who's supposed to be a good actress.
I'm glad that's been your experience. That's very good. How do you feel about punching and kicking and rolling and potentially gouging someone's eyes out?
Well, I mean, that seems a tad bit violent, but if it's what would make good for a good story, then I mean, I'll do whatever's necessary.
Fantastic. Robbie turns around and starts beelining it for Lenore to ask us similar question.
I wonder if everyone in this industry is just as strange.
So you make a beeline to Lenore?
Yes. Miss Von Mori.
You can call me Lenore.
Lenore, yes, hi. You are going to be the evil doctor, yes?
That's my understanding.
I think evil is a good descriptor, but also a very judgy descriptor. So once I have the script for you, I'd love to talk about your intentions and why you're doing what you're doing, even though what you're doing is extremely bad.
Okay. Don't overthink it too much, okay?
I'm afraid I don't understand how to do that.
I know and can see that you have got very big ideals and dreams, but Cudham is not necessarily the place for all of that. Take it from someone who's been around the block more than a couple of times.
Well, change has to start somewhere, right?
I admire your optimism.
Well, I was hoping to employ you and Miss Belafonte in the forwarding of the industry as a whole, of moving it towards something better. You and Miss Belafonte have been around for years. You are staples of the industry. So if you guys are trying to move things forward, I think people will respond to it better.
Have you seen my show?
Not in its entirety, no.
Maybe watch an episode and then we'll talk.
Okay, yes, I research, absolutely. On a similar but completely different note, how do you feel about potentially having your eyes gouged out?
It wouldn't be the first time.
Great, thank you.
I've worked with any number of gags in this industry.
Fantastic, that's very good to know. I'll watch your show, and they start walking away already writing.
And Lenore just kind of like cants her head to the side a little, like, okay, that was interesting, and just sort of shakes her head and goes back to reading the script.
Okay. Belle, what are you doing? I know you're saying you're taking little notes. Anything else?
I think I want to find an opportunity to talk to Lenore privately.
So you see Lenore start walking to her dressing room, and you follow behind.
Mm-hmm. You know, she goes into her dressing room, and I knock on the door.
Come in.
I go in.
I'm like leaning over the vanity, like starting on my makeup for the show and everything.
Lenore, I know you and I have our history, but we need to talk.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure, Belle.
I know you know who I am and how I am. I am giving you a kindness right now. You need to tell your boyfriend to be a little more careful. And I put the envelope on her table.
And Lenore sort of eyes it, looks at Belle, trying to read her face, and opens the envelope and slides out the picture and tries very hard to mask her reaction to the photo.
Can you give me an acting roll?
Sure. Acting.
That's how I got into Juilliard.
I got an 80 over my 60. Whoops-a-doodle.
Yeah. Go ahead and explain how you try to keep your face from contorting, and it, doesn't.
So I try and keep my face, like, very jovial. The smile stays, but the look in her eyes changes. The cheeriness that you would normally see there is completely gone. Where did you get this?
That's not the question here, hon.
Well, it's my question to you, darling.
Well, I got this from a photographer, but the point is, Henri is not being careful enough. If he can get snapped in public by a photographer, he's in big trouble. And seeing as your careers are somewhat connected, like I said, I'm doing you a kindness.
And you can see sort of some of the gears turning in Lenore's head. Well, you're going to be very embarrassed very shortly when I announce some upcoming news, but you'll have to wait for another time. I have a show to get ready for.
Well, I could announce that news for you as an exclusive.
I bet you could. I'm sure you could, and I will definitely take it into consideration.
I don't think you're understanding what's happening here. I could release this tomorrow. Heck, I could release it by the 5 p.m.
And do you intend to do that?
It depends on what you're going to give me.
You're going to have to wait, my dear.
Really?
Sometimes there are greater rewards for patience than you think.
Give me the exclusive, and I'll bury this.
And Lenore just takes sort of a deep breath, lets it out, tries to recenter herself, and extends a hand to shake.
Okay, I shake her hand.
Now, if you don't mind, I do have a show to do.
Well, break a leg.
Always.
And I leave, of course, with the photo.
The feeling is mutual. Break all your legs.
We're going to fast forward to the night. We're going to do a couple things. So, Evie, where would you go to have a drink after a long day?
A long day means I probably don't want to be seen. I imagine there's probably like a hole in the wall kind of place that I used to go when I was brand new, maybe in like Black Los Angeles, somewhere where I know that if I am recognized, they'll respect me enough to just like kind of treat me like a regular person. I've been coming there for years. It's never fanfare when I walk in there. It's, hey, how you doing? There's no pictures of me on the wall that I've had to sign. It's just like a regular mom and pop kind of place. And I have a booth at the back that I can sit and smoke in for hours and no one ever comes and bothers me.
All right, call this place the Crow's Flight. It's a bar, southern Los Angeles. It's away from Hollywood. And back then there was a lot more land between, like it wasn't as built up as it is today. So it's a bit of a trek, but it gets you out of Hollywood. And you walk in and you're smoking and drinking in the corner. And as you're doing this, you notice Patty Wells comes through the door. Patty was your age and you both started at the same time. And you have been sort of rivals because you both were up for the same part most of the time. She has very dark skin, has in these hair extensions that kind of poof her hair up and come down. She looks very well put together. She has on a navy blue dress with a white flower pin, and you see her enter, and unlike you, she makes a show of it. Everybody, responds in kind. Thing that you notice, though, is she looks really good, like way younger than she deserves to look. And she gets a drink and she's kind of, looking around, and she catches your eye and she glides over to you. Says, "Oh, Evie, it's been so long. Where have you been?"
I haven't gone anywhere, Patty. I think you know that.
What are you working on?
Oh, a new experimental film. It's supposed to be the next best thing. It's very hush-hush. I've signed an NDA, of course. But how have you been? Looks like you're still stuck on last year's fashions, but you'll get there.
Oh, I've been doing well. I've been getting the required amount of sleep to retain my youthful appearance. And I've also just really found my stride over at Warner Brothers and talking with Paramount as well. What studio are you working at?
Again, NDA. Cut the shit, Patty. What's happening? I get 9 hours of sleep a night. Minimum. I drink 7 glasses of water a day.
I mean, do you have a lotion regiment that you do?
Obviously. I taught you how to lotion. I need to know, what is this? Because, I admit I look phenomenal. But you do seem to have... It's quite harsh.
This light is very harsh.
What regimen have you been poking around with? I've heard some underground rumblings that there might be something new on the market, something exclusive.
Well, yes, there is something new, and though I know that we've had our differences in the past, it's important that we stick together in some ways to make sure that we remain at the top of our game.
It is. Everyone knows how long you've been in the cinema. Everyone knows how long I have been in the cinema. People don't forget greatness, unfortunately, not even to be forgiving. But I imagine that your look does much of that work for you.
It does. I've done well. I mean, I know that we started very, very close to each other. It was great when I got here. You helped me so much, already established as you were. Anyway, I've recently been doing, it's called New Day Rejuvenation, and she pulls a small bottle out of her purse, and she puts it on the table. And she goes, "I use this each day. You have to become part of their membership. It's very exclusive. That's why I ask where you're working. I mean, I might be too exclusive for you at this point. Maybe I can get a word for you in at Warner Brothers and see if we can get you something on there. Set piece kind of background thing, at least help out a little. Anyway, you can take this and try it out for yourself and see if it helps you."
Thank you. And when it comes to help, I think it might be time to call in that favor that you've been racking up for the last decades of your career that I assisted you in getting. I intend to collect, so please prepare yourself to give me more information on how I can catch up. Because the last thing either of us needs is ingenues coming in and replacing what's already golden. Am I right?
Absolutely. Well, give it a try first, and then you know where I am. Warner Brothers. And then she walks away.
I think, like, Ebony just sort of begins lighting up a brand new cigarette, stubs out the first one and lights a whole new cigarette, and just kind of slinks a little bit deeper into the booth as she wraps her fingers tightly around this bottle.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Candace, will you marry me?
Yes.
I'm sitting over here. Y'all, I'm so sorry, Wes, because all you're getting on my end is either a cackle or a, oh, bitch! Yep. That was so shady!
Well, I do what I can.
Oh my God. I was like, not everybody is gagging each other. Meanwhile, I'm just like, so does anyone want pound cake?
Robbie and Amani are just like, oh, I'm so gentle.
That's funny. Okay, so yeah, you've got this bottle of New Day rejuvenation lotion in your hand, and it's got a really fancy label on it. It doesn't have a lot of markings. It's very modernistic looking. And yeah, that's where we'll end that particular scene as you're looking at the bottle. Belle, you leave the studio for the day. What do you do in the afternoons?
I don't know what she would do in the afternoons. I think that she definitely would make sure that she had the negatives from Johnny. And I don't know, I think she would go home. She would put them in her safe that she has at her house, where she has all the really, really bad dirt is in that safe. And I think she just pours herself a drink, eats a little dinner. Like I said, she doesn't have many friends, so she might even watch Lenore's show.
I'm going to say, because Lenore did not make their test, their acting test during the show, maybe Lenore's off just a little. Maybe only Belle sees that Lenore's off, but she's off a little. She's been kind of knocked off her game. So, Lenore, the filming goes by, you get done. What do you want to do?
I'm going to get back into my regular clothes, and I've got to go find Henri immediately.
So Henri's actually at the shack. It's the end of the day. The place is packed full, and then there's a side door for special members to go through. And you slip back past there, and he's sitting in the booth talking with his boyfriend, Brent. And they look up and they're like, oh, hi, how are you? It's so good to see you.
Henri, can I talk to you for a moment, please?
Sure, what's up?
There's a photo. I bet you could take a guess, considering that I was shown this photo by our good friend Belle Bellington.
There's not supposed to be any cameras let in here.
I saw the photo myself. It's not explained away. It's not, a jovial whisper in the ear. It's explicit, darling.
Fuck, we have to get that photo.
And I'm not sure who took the photo, and that's not information Belle is likely to give me.
No, we have to get the photo.
I don't know that there is a getting of the photo. We don't know who has copies, where, how many, but I offered Belle an exclusive in exchange for not publishing the photo.
What are you going to give her that's going to out-trump that?
There's only one thing I can give her. Us.
You mean like marriage?
Hopefully it won't come to that, but I do think that you need to propose, and I think it needs to be public, and I think it needs to be right away.
Fuck.
We've always said this was our contingency, and I hoped it would never come to this, but unless you want that photo out, I can't think of another way to squash it.
Oh, I can't. This is all so much. You're right, of course.
And maybe we can keep them at bay long enough that, we play that we're engaged, we're making wedding plans, et cetera, and at the last minute, something falls through. But I've been thinking about it all evening, and that's the only thing I can think of, unless you've got a better idea.
I don't think there's any better idea. I mean, at this point, maybe we can dig something up on her. Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be lovely, but there isn't a lot of time, and this would buy us the time.
All right. Meanwhile, I think we should avoid this place if it's so easy to get pictures off.
I think it's the only thing we can do. I'm so sorry, darling.
No, it's not your fault. And Brent looks up at Henri and says, okay, I'll make myself scarce for right now. We'll have to talk over the phone or something. He goes, yeah, I think that'd be best. And the three of you leave separately. You two together, Brent leaves on his own. And that's where we're going to leave that. All right, so as you're still at the studio, Robbie, working on all these different pieces of paper, typing stuff out, it's late. The television show has ended. The man in the burgundy suit has left. And Penelope, the assistant who runs the day-to-day operations for Danny, walks in. She, runs over to you really quickly and says, why are you still here? You should be asleep already.
Oh no, I have so many rewrites to do. I have to change relationships. I have to boil down medical jargon into something palatable for most people. I mean, it's not that much information. I'll be awake for quite a while.
I understand, but you cannot burn the candles at both ends like this. It's too difficult. You need to sleep.
I'll sleep when it's done. If I sleep now, I'll lose my momentum and I'll forget all the things that I wanted to change unless I write them down. But then if I write them down, I won't have the same words that I want to have. So if I just write everything right now, that's the better way to do it. Do you need to go home? Do I need to leave the studio? Is that what you're trying to say? Are you trying to be polite?
No, not at all. You can stay here all night if you wish, but I just worry about you. You're obviously I don't know the words.
I don't know the words you want either. I was going to try to be helpful, but you only know those words, and even if you don't know them, you'll know them better than I would. You're very sweet to be worried.
You seem anxious and overwrought.
I think I've always been that way. I think that's kind of my resting state.
All right, well, when you leave, just lock the door, okay? And try to get some sleep.
I will take a power nap.
I think there's a cot somewhere in one of the dressing rooms.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't know that. I've just been sleeping on the couch on the set.
Yeah.
Don't tell Danny. Don't tell Danny.
Don't worry about Danny. He's not going to care if you sleep here. If he can work you 24 hours a day, he will. I'm the one that has to worry about scheduling and people dying on my watch.
I won't die.
That's what I'm trying to make sure. All right. Well, keep up the good work, and I'll see you in the morning.
Thank you, Penelope.
Goodbye.
You get some rest. You take care of all of us, so you should take care of yourself too. Or do you have someone to take care of you, like a spouse or a sibling or a parent or a friend?
She pauses for a second and she goes, to be honest with you, I just lost my grandmother. And, she was in her 90s. We knew she was going to go quick. Her grandfather died, and I'm just trying to deal with that. It can be difficult.
I'm so sorry. I think Robbie has seen, doesn't have a lot of, close friendships, hasn't ever really, and just kind of, puts their arms around her in a hug that's not good, but it's trying.
It's trying? Okay. She gives you an awkward hug as well. It's a very, English hug. She's all like, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you in the morning, and we will continue on with this movie, this opus of yours. All right?
Yes. Opus. Oh, that's a fantastic word for it. You are so wonderful, Penelope.
I'll leave you to it. And she leaves the studio as you are there by yourself in the middle of this massive studio.
Robbie writes in just a bit part of a very kindly receptionist to immortalize Penelope.
Okay, cool.
Adding to their page number rather than subtracting.
Yeah, that's going to be an ongoing problem. Okay, Amani, you have left the studio and you're back at home. You have rented a studio with a little 2-bedroom apartment with Trish, who you met on the bus, and you walk through the door and there is Rose, a woman about your age, light brown skin, big brown eyes, and she was the reason you left the town. You had an affair with her that her husband did not know about and then found out about and then spread rumors about you throughout the city. And Trish is kind of sitting with these big eyes. Rose turns to you and goes, darling, I've been looking everywhere for you. We can be together finally.
Rose, how did you find where I was? I didn't tell anyone.
And I want to know why. I loved you so much, and we had such a good time together.
Can we have this conversation elsewhere, please?
Where would you like to go? I'd go anywhere with you.
Is this a studio with it's studio bathroom?
It's actually a 2-bedroom.
Oh, it's a 2-bedroom. Okay, cool. I will hastily grab her hand and pull her into my room. slam the door shut.
Look, I'm sorry to I just didn't know where you had gone, and the town became so disgusting. I had to leave. Roger's no longer a problem, though. We can be together.
Do you really think that anything is that different here than it was at home? Truly.
We can try. I mean, it's a bigger city. We can disappear.
I have a job, Rose. I'm following my dreams. I can't let anything get in the way of that. Not now. You understand, right?
But I thought I was part of those dreams. I mean, I came out here to be with you. I dealt with the whole Roger situation.
What did you do with Roger?
I shot him. And that's where we're going to end this episode.
Amazing. Murder most foul.
Goodness.
I love that so much.
She just out and said it.
Ooh, she's a little unhinged.
I shot his ass.
Night, night, Roger.
Yeah, she is a woman in love. That's all she knows.
Pop 6 squish scissor lip shit.
That's
Quite literally.
That's it.
The sis said 7 pounds of pressure. I'm not upset about this at all.
So thank you all so much for playing. I appreciate it. Now that we're getting into the second episode, the groundwork is being laid. So I'm having fun with it. Let's find out where all of these wonderful people are. Let's start with Mac.
Hey, y'all. I have been and will continue to be Mac Beauvais. You can find me everywhere on the internet as @Strange Like That. Or if you say my name 3 times in a mirror in a darkened room, I will appear behind you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Candace. I have been Ebony Belafonte, your resident, I don't even know what you'd call her, a femme fatale, maybe. You can find me at that Candace Girl on Twitter, at Candace Marie on Blue Sky, and at Candace Magnificent everywhere else that doesn't have 15 character limits on screen names. You can see more of my work over at Crossroads Gaming, Live from the Apocalypse, over on Matihi's channel for What We Do in the Shallows, and many other places.
Howdy, gang. I'm Lev. You can find me on Twitter at LegoM2RS, the number 2, until Twitter dies, and then I'll go to a different social because I don't have the emotional energy to start a new one. You can usually find me over on Mayday Roleplay, where I'm a main cast member. We play a bunch of different systems. I also scatter around on Crossroads Gaming as well. Oh, I'm also a voice actor, so sometimes there might be a video game that you might hear my voice in that's coming out soon, or that is already out, I guess, since it's September. So, yeah, that's cool.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Starr. I have had the pleasure of playing Imani DeVoe. I use she, they, and the occasional they pronouns, and you can follow me all over the internet and interwebs at Lust for Life X. That includes Twitter, Blue Sky, Hive, Instagram, although I'm barely active on that at all, but I'm all there. As of right now, the most consistent thing that you can catch me on is every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time over on Transplanter RPG's channel. I am over with them during their second main campaign of the Chaos Protocol. Me and my merry band of hot gay messes. We're over there causing chaos all across the multiverse, and you should check it out.
Hey, I'm Michelle, and you can find me on the socials at Michulu. That's MICHULHU. You can find my music and Wes's amazing sound effects if you subscribe to the Plate Mail Games catalog through BattleBards.
And I am Wes Otis. You can find me at Plate Mail Games on Twitter. You can find us on all the social medias. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter and Thread and everywhere else. If you can find all our links on our website at 12sidedstories.com, all spelled out, all one word. If you're looking for us on a particular platform, it's going to be the number 12 and then Sided Stories. Give us a shout out. Let people know that you're listening, what you like about the show. If you want to talk to us, get over on Discord, join up, and say hi. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you want to help out the show, definitely check out Patreon and Coffee. We're going to be having a lot of exclusive things going up there for people, including behind the scenes things for these episodes, which I think are going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you next time on Otherworld Hollywood.
Bye.